The stage lights flickered as the audience settled into silence. The judges leaned forward in their seats, curious yet skeptical. A small boy, wearing an oversized shirt and shoes that clearly weren't his own, walked nervously toward the microphone. His eyes carried both fear and determination. He had no fancy outfit, no expensive instrument, and no professional training. All he had was his voice, and a dream that had carried him through hardship. This boy's name was Arjun, a 13-year-old from a poor fishing village in the Philippines. His family barely survived each day. His father was a fisherman who often returned home empty-handed, and his mother worked tirelessly in nearby markets to earn just enough to put rice on the table. Music was Arjun's escape. Every evening, he would sit by the shore with a borrowed guitar, teaching himself songs he heard faintly on old radios. He had never been inside a music school, never had a teacher, yet his heart understood music better than most. The biggest challenge for Arjun wasn't poverty alone, it was the weight of being invisible. No one believed a boy like him could amount to anything. He was often laughed at when he sang in the streets. Children teased him, and even some adults said, "Stop dreaming, boy. You'll never make it anywhere with songs." But deep inside, he knew his voice was more than just sound. It was his only weapon, his only chance to rise above the life of hunger and hardship. When a local talent scout came to their village, searching for hidden performers, Arjun almost didn't go. He was embarrassed of his torn clothes and cracked sandals. But his mother, with tears in her eyes, told him, "Go, my son. Don't sing for them. Sing for us. Sing for the life we dream of." Those words gave him courage. And that is how Arjun found himself standing under bright lights, holding the weight of his family's hopes in his trembling hands. The host announced his song choice, Hotel California. Gasps filled the room. People thought it was too big of a song for a child, especially one who looked so fragile. The judges exchanged doubtful glances, almost ready to dismiss him before he even began. But Arjun closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and began to sing. From the very first note, the room shifted. His voice wasn't just sound, it was pure emotion woven into melody. The sorrow of long nights without food, the longing of a child who wanted a better life, the pain of being overlooked, and the fire of unbreakable hope, all of it poured into every lyric. The song Hotel California, one of the most iconic tracks in the world, became something new, something breathtaking. It wasn't just a performance, it was a story told by a boy who had lived through more than most adults ever would. As his voice soared through the chorus, the audience rose to their feet, tears streaming down their faces. The judges, who had doubted him, now covered their mouths in disbelief. The entire room was captivated, frozen in awe as the poor boy turned an old classic into a masterpiece. But the true power of his performance came in the silence between the notes. You could feel his hunger, his pain, and his dreams fighting to break free. The judges weren't just listening to music, they were witnessing the triumph of a spirit that refused to be broken. When the final note faded, the room erupted into thunderous applause. The judges stood, clapping with tears in their eyes. One of them whispered, "This is what music is meant to be. Not perfection, not fame, but truth." Another slammed the golden buzzer, sending golden confetti raining down on Arjun. He fell to his knees, overwhelmed, as the crowd chanted his name. Backstage, his mother wept uncontrollably, holding her son in her arms. For the first time, she felt the weight of poverty lifting, replaced by the light of possibility. Arjun hadn't just sung a song, he had sung his family's way into hope. The challenges were still there, poverty doesn't disappear overnight, but this moment changed everything. Opportunities began to knock. Arjun was invited to bigger stages, offered scholarships, and most importantly, given a chance to use his voice as a bridge to a brighter future. His story became an inspiration not only for his village but for millions who watched online. People from around the world commented, saying they had felt his pain and his passion. Many said they had given up on their dreams until they saw a boy with nothing turn his nothing into a masterpiece. By the end, Arjun proved that greatness is not about where you were born, or what you have, but about the fire in your heart that refuses to die. His voice carried a message the world needed to hear, that even the poorest child, with enough courage and soul, can turn a simple song into a masterpiece that touches millions. And as he stood on that stage, confetti falling around him, tears on his face, and applause shaking the room, one truth became clear: dreams don't belong only to the rich. They belonged to anyone brave enough to sing them out loud.